Do you have a question, Mr. Peterson, for Mr. Dodd?
Tim, you keep talking about the fresh perspective. What is that fresh perspective? Because we both know local aid is a priority, constituent service is a priority. Both of us have had that. Can you define what this fresh perspective is?
Sure. My first perspective, again, goes back to 4 tenets. The 4 tenets of local aid, jobs, environment, and education. And as George pointed out, these aren't new issues. These aren't fresh issues. But my concept of a fresh perspective is that I'm bringing new ideas to the table. For example, one of the ideas that I proposed in terms of education, there's a bill on the docket called the bottle bill. It's an environmental protection bill that would place an extra 5 cent deposit on water bottles and sports drinks and the like. Right now, the projections are that it would generate about $37 million for state coffers. And the idea is that it would be used for environmental protection. But actually, what I'd like to do is try to see some of that money go to a specialized grant program. I've actually written a 90-page paper on it that would go back into our classrooms for some of the areas that are really not being tested right now by the MCAS. Things like the arts, things like social studies, things like physical education that are imperative that we fund. So an idea like that I've put forward is really typifies the idea that I have of a fresh perspective. And again, I think that it's very important that we have legislators who are there, who are grounded in the local needs of the district. I certainly respect the time that Representative Peterson spent on the planning board and the selectmen here in Grafton. But I think that my immediate experience right now in the last 3.5 years in Westboro would be very important to have up in Beacon Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd. Do you have a question for him?
I do. George, this week, Charlie Baker, obviously your nominee for governor from your party, came out with a plan for term limits for 10 years. Obviously, you'd be 6 years over that right now. But I respect what you've said during this campaign about how you believe that we do have term limits every year, and I certainly understand your position, but that is something that you believe that representatives need to earn. And they need to be out there working hard, as you mentioned, to earn the votes of people in the district. In the last session, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is in the last session, you had one bill that was passed and signed by the governor that dealt with a road in Upton. Is that renaming it? It was the George Wood Memorial Highway, 146, I believe. And I totally understand what you were saying about being in a minority of 15. It must be incredibly challenging. But Representative Karen Polito introduced 46 bills in this past session, and Paul Frost had it down as 57 bills. You sponsored 22 bills, and 1 was passed. And so I guess, as a voter, and I don't think you or I are any different from any other voter, and so just out of curiosity as a voter in your district, I'm just wondering what's one idea that you have going forward that you'd like to bring to the table that you think you could get through the legislature and help the residents of the district?
One of those things would be restoring the underground storage tank fund so that money would actually go back into the environmental cleanups that it was supposed to be directed to. That's one that we have filed as amendments on the budget. We have filed many amendments on the budget and been successful in that. No, I have not done a lot of legislative action. As I said, I've been doing defense because I need to be doing defense to protect the people of the Commonwealth and to protect the people of this district. I find it interesting, though, Tim, that the one new perspective that you talk about is finding more funding, but that's through a tax increase or a fee. The bottle fee, which is estimated that might bring back $37 million, but if you look at the history of Maine's bottle bill and expanded bottle bill, they never got anywhere near that. In fact, they have a problem of too many people bringing too many returns back in, over returns. So I'm proud of my record. It might not have a long legislative record, but dealing with the communities, getting the funds and the critical needs taken care of, we've done that.
Let's go to closing statements. A minute.